It's Check My Oil, UFC 292, Boston, Massachusetts. We do a lot of Boston sports on this pod, so I do think that this is apt. I do think it's a good card to be reviewing. I have the usual cast of misfits and ne'er-do-wells on the show. Ben Peake, Matt Wilcox. This card's taking some hits, boys. It's taking some hits. We've lost some key matchups on it, and Ian Gary was saying that he's pretty much carrying this card now, and I find it hard to disagree with him wholeheartedly. A lot of washed up fighters. Listen, I'm still gonna pay the fucking money. I'm gonna put it on. Um, I just as exciting as Sean O'Malley is, when it's a main event of two smaller than medically advisable men, I just don't love it. So I am looking forward to the Ian Gary fight. And I'm sorry if I sound negative, but I'm sure we can find some fun things, some front through lines in this bad boy as we go.
It's always these cards that we make our dumbest bets, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I hear you have some who the fuck is that guy bets lined up for
I've by the end of this podcast, we're gonna have a who the fuck is that guy parlay.
That's cool. That was a really good impression, Matt. I almost thought he was here for a
Who
second.
the fuck is that guy? Was that better?
It's the guy that you're fucking up. Guy. You immediately become Matt Damon in The Departed at the end.
I feel like he's going like Jack Sparrow on me. I don't really know what's happening.
Yeah, no, that's accurate. Gerald Mirshart is on the prelims, which is a real fall from grace.
No kidding.
And the guy he's fighting, I'm only talking about this fight in the prelims because Gerald Mirshart's on it, and he's a recognized name. But the guy he's fighting is undefeated in the UFC. He's finished 3 guys since 2021. I don't know what's going to happen, but apparently Mershart's on the decline. He's a heavy underdog, plus 210. But there's the UFC veteran status, Matt. Do you see any value in this bet?
No, not really. Mershart took us for a bath the last time he fought, so he's not going to get my money from me again. Yeah, and me and you disagreed, and you were right, and I was wrong, and that's fine. You know, I'm a man. I'll take my losses when they come. But no, I don't see it here. I think it's all over. I think that's the reason he's on the early prelim, and I think I don't see a lot of value. Yeah, it was Pfeiffer, Joe Pfeiffer,
Pfeiffer,
the Pfeiffer demolished him.
All right, we need a word for the winged dinosaur, pterodactyl. All right, that's a good one. Spell it. P.
No, yeah, I'm not going to go with Mershaw on this one. But talk about a fall from grace. I feel like we were just talking about him being a gatekeeper, and now he seems to be on the other side of the gate.
Yeah, I think Petrosky's a worthy value bet here. If you want to anchor him in a parlay, I think that might be smart. Ben, does it matter where you are on a card? Have you been? I'm sure you've been up and down different cards at different prestige levels. Does it affect you? Is it like how, like, I would imagine maybe like, oh shit, I got to fight really early, or like the time that you're like spending in the day thinking about it, or like the amount of eyeballs on it if you're more of a main event. Like, I know you've been up and down cards. Like, do you think about that stuff?
Yeah, it's funny, but your perspective on it changes.
You want to stop fucking yawning?
Can we run that one again?
Let me get it out. Yeah, but I forgot what I was gonna say. Your perspective on it changes as your perspective on the sport grows, in my opinion. I remember when I was starting out, and I would get the lineup a week or so before, and I'd be like, oh, I'm first or I'm second. And I'd be like, oh, because I was actually nervous. So then I'd get there and I'd be like, oh, I want time to settle into the locker room. And like, no, they pull you and they're like, wrap your hands because you're the first to go, and we're doing the fucking national anthem or whatever. And you're like, oh, fuck, you get your heart rate going. But at
least you're fired up for America.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, indoctrination, big key thing of any sort of fighting. But then as my career went on, and it was just kind of like a run of the mill thing, and I like wasn't nervous going into it, and I would just be like, oh, okay, yeah, I've got to fight in 2 weeks. This guy's he's undefeated, great, cool, whatever. Let's fucking see let's see what he's like. And but then I'd get there and I'd be like, oh, I wish I was earlier in the card. I wish they flipped it. I wish they did main event first, because then you have to sit around all night. and you wait for all
But
these
you can't
fights.
just go home.
No, I mean when you're fighting
Oh, when you're
last
later on the
spot.
card, why just show up later now?
Yeah, you do, but you have to be there for the rules meeting. You have to get cleared by the commission.
Yeah.
They've got to do medicals. It's like a whole thing that you've got to get there for. You like listen. Yeah, it's such a pain in the ass that you do try to skip those a lot. I try to skip the rules meeting all the time. But
I wasn't there. I didn't know.
whoops. But I think in the perspective that you're saying of does it affect you to be lower on the card when
Like, would it affect him, would you think, because he used to be a main card guy? Like,
yeah dude, at this point fighting is so like your ego is so involved, there's no way to escape it, and this is what these guys do for a living. So imagine somebody at your work was like, you're not as good as you used to be, so you're gonna be a PA again, Dave.
oh no.
Yeah, dude, that shit would fucking suck.
I mean, he's still fighting in the UFC, right? I wonder. I mean, I guess this is like you can guess what the answer to this is based on Dana White's like entire personality. But do they get less money than they've gotten before? Like, are they putting a contract in front of you where it's like, well, it's just a prelim fight, bro. Like, you're just not getting that same show money that you used to get. I wonder. Like, once you hit a certain threshold, usually, like you're saying, in the real world, if you hit a certain threshold of payment, it's people aren't pulling it back because you suck. They just cut you or fire you.
I wonder what the contract looks like, because I know that they give them multi-fight deals,
right?
But it must matter whether it's a fight night or if it's an actual UFC event. If you're early, it must vary.
I don't know if the early prelims are eligible for bonuses either. I don't know if they're eligible to like win fight of the night or like.
I know they're eligible for fight of the night. I know that
really, because like not enough eyeballs are on them. So I would just imagine.
I know. But you know what? When it does happen, rarely, that works to Dana's benefit, because now he's got some dog down there in the early prelims that he's going to hype up big time, bring them up out of nowhere, which he loves to do. Wouldn't you think so? Here's my thing: Mirshart, like, just a slow decline into irrelevance. I bet this is going to be the hardest fight he's ever had. He must be like on the brink of just like, fuck this, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
There's people still finding their seats. That guy's eating popcorn, nobody's around him. Like, it's just what a fall.
I feel like the strip club we watched Ben beat that guy up in.
Yeah, but that was awesome.
It's like Ben's early career was a lot like the end of The Wrestler starring Mickey Rourke. It's like, Jesus Christ, where are we?
It's funny because I just looked up, I was trying to find video on that the other day, because like I have so few video of my fights. I have lots of pictures here and there, but like video is very hard to come by, especially because we're ancient. So like back.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you were starting your career now, if you were 19 now, all your fights would be taped, and you would have like a whole archive of it because it's so cheap and easy to tape fights. I would have videos of it, but I'm pretty sure like you were the one with the best phone at the time as far as like cameras go.
That creepy phone that would flip sideways and like camera.
Yeah, you could Blair Witch it. You could like flip it and it would look like a Blair Witch. And honestly, I bet we would be shocked at how low quality those videos actually were. But we didn't have access to that kind of stuff, like as like 4K video on our phones. That wasn't a thing we were doing.
Holy shit, man. It is funny. And honestly, thank God. I can't imagine if I was 17, 18 years old and able to record and upload my life like that to the internet. Dude.
Imagine what high school would have been like. Imagine like any mistake you ever made. If you made a big embarrassing one, it lives forever on the internet. That's, I don't know. I wouldn't leave the house.
Yeah, Ben would still be on some list.
I just did that to that poor girl today.
I know. Ben thought he was getting scammed by a bot today, and because this girl was like, "Hey Ben, how do you remember me?" And he was like, "No." She was like, we know each other. I do OnlyFans. You can send me some money and I'll let you in. And he was like, this is obviously a bot. And he was like, how do we know each other? And before she answered, he posted screenshots of it on the internet. And then she went on to prove that she was really this girl that we did actually all remember and did go to our high school and answered all the questions correctly. Ben was like, fill out this prove you're not a robot reCAPTCHA.
Dude, and she did it. Dude, she did. I was like, oh fuck.
The best part is, does Ben retract it? Does he delete it? Nope. doubles down.
No, you got to double down, dude. Come
No,
get
dude, you just got to bite the mouth guard and swing back. And I was like,
Give her a big old, he gave her a big old, "You're welcome" for the promotion.
Yeah, honestly, it might have brought traffic to the OF.
Dude, a bunch of people messaged me that we went to high school with Greg Jacobs, stuff like, and like Tim Brotherton, bunch of people, and they were like, "Oh, I know this girl. She's gone crazy now." Like all this stuff. So
Wow.
I
I love how she messaged you like one kind of innocuous paragraph, and you've now put her on blast on your Instagram and your podcast. It's miracle work, man. You're doing the Lord's work. Speaking of OnlyFans, though, Paige Van Zant's wife is fighting on this. Paige Van Zant's wife. Austin Hubbard's fighting on this card.
Is he?
Yeah. That's it. That's him, right? Am I like completely confusing him with?
No, he's Austin Vanderford.
Oh, I thought it was Paige Van Zant's wife.
No. That's a fair. Yeah, because who knows who the hell he is? No, but that kid, he just lost a belt fight in Bellator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
He's actually pretty good.
Yeah, he doesn't actually seem all that bad.
Really good wrestler, really strong wrestler.
Austin, wait, who do you mean, Ben? Do you mean that Paige Van Zant's wife is good?
Paige Van Zant's wife. I don't know any of the people on these cards.
But you've heard of Paige Van Zant's wife.
Yeah, because he's Paige Van Zant's wife. I would have never heard of him.
How do you feel about that? Like, her OnlyFans, right, has got to be bringing in conservatively 20 grand a month.
Yeah, the most money in the house. Conservatively.
Yeah, like probably 50, but not even the most money in the house. Like
real low.
Yeah. Let's say it's 50. Let's say she's making 50 grand a month. She's definitely making like life-changing money comparatively, especially to what she was making to get her fucking face punched in the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
You're the husband, and he's sometimes an actor in the OnlyFans, and it's like,
oh, is he?
Yeah.
He comes in to frost the donut every once in a while, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Because I saw him like responding to Twitter trolls about it, but like being like, dude, I can like pay. I know you're a professional fighter and you could beat up like 99.9% of the people talking shit to you about your wife, but bro, your wife's titties are still on the internet, dude. Don't do that. Yeah. I'm all for female empowerment, but from his perspective, like, what do you?
My wife is a lawyer. My wife's a lawyer. She's probably going to be a judge someday. And I've been begging her to do just a feed account forever. She will not budge.
The money's good. If you didn't have to go to work anymore, you just find a place to compartmentalize that. I feel like, just put it somewhere. If it's working for you. Man, that'd be such dope money just to like post pictures.
That sweet feet money.
Sweet feet money. And I'm under the impression those guys, the feet guys, are the ones that are going to part with their dough.
Oh yeah.
They really need an eclectic collection.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm bored with those toes. I need different toes.
They're nuts. They got a real "this rifle is mine" kind of mentality about it.
I gotta know, like, we need to be like optioning studies of where these fetishes. I'm not kink shaming, like, you do your thing, but we gotta be optioning studies on like where these fetishes.
But it's funny. It
is funny. That's a funny one. That's definitely
you gotta roll with it. People who take that too seriously, that drives me nuts.
It's one of the funniest ones that you could have, and they're the ones that get so fucking touchy about it. Like, it's funny. Their feet.
There's worse ones though. Did you watch that documentary about like the fact that like the tickle people are basically the Illuminati?
Yeah.
Like, if you try to get into like what the tickle world does, like they fuck with you. Like they start coming for you and shit. Like billionaires that just want to be tickled.
What was the other one?
Furries. The other one. Yeah.
No, it's like dark invites, dark corners of the internet.
Yeah. It's like Eyes Wide Shut too. It's about to get. I got a hairball. It's about put my life on pause. PAWS. Because I gotta go get it. That's. I don't know where that comes from though. Like, where does that fetish come from? I don't know what the etymology of your fet is. But before we talk about Austin Hubbard, who apparently, apologies to Austin Hubbard, you are not Paige Van Zant's wife. I really thought you were. I thought that was his name.
No, he's way less cool.
No, I now know who Austin Hubbard is. I've remembered since looking him up. Before that, the Ultimate Fighter 31 finale. Very underwhelming season of the Ultimate Fighter. Thinking that you were going to have Conor McGregor on a reality show was going to make it good. It was not good.
It was not good.
It was very clear that he was there 10% of the time that Michael Chandler was there, and they weren't getting a lot of footage that they could really use that was going to be awesome to like put in the show. And he wasn't like doing any like vintage Conor McGregor stuff. And there was some funny lines and everything, but like I could tell they were really grasping at straws. I'm pretty sure all his prospects lost, not one won a fight.
I think he won his last guy won one fight.
Yeah, because they gave him one of the other guys.
Yeah.
They gave him one of the established dudes, the guy that's in the final. So if Brad Katona is now he's already won the Ultimate Fighter. I'm not sure why you can do it twice, but he's already won it, and he's on Team Connor. But they had to like it was like a school ground rules when like your team is just getting dominated so bad, you have to give them one of your good guys so that it becomes somewhat competitive.
Yeah,
which is depressing.
We used to have to do that in Pop Warner sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, brag about it. Yeah, that happens all the time. Our Pop Warner team was elite. I bet it was actually.
It was wicked good.
The kids that we had in our elementary school. I bet the Shrewsbury Pop Warner team was pretty fucking good.
Or four college D1 players, if you count Sean.
No thanks to you. You don't count Sean though, because he only went to a D2 school.
Okay, take it easy.
Sorry.
D3.
No, D2.
D2.
Merrimack.
Defensive Player of the Year 2 years in a row though.
Yeah.
What are you, his fucking agent? Okay. So anyway, Cody Gibson and Brad Katona are fighting one another. Brad Katona's 12-2. Cody Gibson's 19-8. The odds are like I couldn't really find. I don't know like what I couldn't find it on my usual betting site. I don't know why the odds makers haven't made it yet. Maybe it's because it's like something to do with the show. Could you find odds, Matt?
No, it's because Cody just fought on the 15th, and he literally just stepped in. He was in the Ultimate Fighter, so there's no odds out yet, and it's not available on FanDuel or on DraftKings at this moment. But they should have them by Friday.
Well, who do you think is going to win?
I'm gonna go with Cody Gibson. Just based on his submission win, he looked really good. Obviously, he was fighting a nobody, but it was a really, really dominant ground performance by him. And Brad Katona just ain't shit. Come on, who the fuck is that guy?
I mean, he's younger and he's got a better record in the UFC.
Yeah, he's a little fella. Man,
do you know anybody that was ever on the Ultimate Fighter?
Oh, dude, I know a actual real life predator who has climbed the ranks. His name's Dan Simler. Climbed the ranks of Matt's
just like shuts off his camera.
He's a cop now too, if you can imagine that. And he got
so for context, Ben's old jiu-jitsu coach and trainer, and he was very good at jiu-jitsu, right, Ben?
Fantastic coach.
Yes, he was good at jiu-jitsu himself, but moreover, he was an amazing coach.
Yeah.
He really knew
which
how
is
to
great for him
into doing the moves. If you
oh god. So anyway, turns out that guy went on the Ultimate Fighter. Every fight starts standing up, and he got fucking one of the worst knockouts I've ever seen.
Well, but let's call it this. He demolished that kid in the first round, like really, really had his way with him, and then got a little too cocky and got slept.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. You got to go look up, if you're listening to this, go look up Dan Simler Ultimate Fighter knockout. It's the only time I've ever seen Quentin Rampage Jackson look like genuinely worried about something. Yeah. He was like, oh my god.
All you have to do is type in worst UFC knockout ever, and it pops up.
Yeah. That was bad. And then it turned out later he was a fucking predator for underage girls, and now he's a cop. So Ben knows somebody that was on the Ultimate Fighter, not the most glory-filled performance from Dan, but I also never really liked that guy.
I also separately, I sparred with that kid pretty recently who's on this season right now.
Who?
Yeah, you knew what's
kid who just won.
Go ahead, sorry.
Shut up. The kid who just he just Rico is his name. He just won.
Suave. Yeah, he was good.
He did like the double hand punch and everything like that.
Yeah.
Honestly, real good jiu-jitsu. Real good jiu-jitsu, real good striking as well, which I run into a lot less with pure MMA guys.
Mm-hmm.
But that dude was down to bang. He was good.
Sweet. Okay, Kurt Hollabaugh. And Austin Hubbard. Austin Hubbard's a favorite. He's won like all his UFC fights, I think. Maybe he lost one. And then this Holloway guy he's fighting is 0-5 in the UFC. So I think it's actually Hubbard's never been knocked down, never been knocked out. If it becomes a battle of conditioning, I feel like he'll win this. Maybe over. I would take like over 2.5 rounds, or I would just take Austin Hubbard on the money line. Probably part of a parlay. You know, an Andre Petrosky and an Austin Hubbard parlay would be a good way to start your day. I think.
Yeah,
I think that would start you in good stead on Saturday. I would probably, just because they haven't made the odds, I would probably stay away from that Ultimate Fighter finale because there's just too much. It's a fucking circus. And do you know if Connor and Chandler are going to Boston? Probably Chandler, I would imagine, because he's got.
I imagine Chandler. I think they both have to be there, probably contractually.
Do you think they're gonna fight?
Yeah. I mean, Connor said December for sure. I think he was trying to shake out of it, because it's just a boring fight. Nobody wants to see it. And he'd much rather fight Gaethje for a fake belt.
It's a boring fight, dude. I wanted to see that. Connor's gonna get fucking thrashed.
Oh, Connor's gonna beat Michael Chandler real bad. It's a bad matchup for Chandler. Like every time he comes up against a really fast, like well-tuned striker, he's gonna get frustrated. He's gonna rush in. He's gonna get slept. The Gaethje fight, I'm far more interested in because I think Justin Gaethje is gonna put him in a fucking box, just bang him. I think that's gonna be the end of Connor in the UFC. The Gaethje fight that we get probably in March or April.
Seen the end of Connor in the UFC.
No, he's gonna fight. He's gonna fight.
Boys.
He's never gonna fight again.
Here's what's gonna happen.
Don't say that.
Here's what's gonna happen. Don't worry, because Papa's here to tell you what's gonna go down.
Yeah, let's hear this. I can't wait.
He's gonna knock Michael Chandler out in the first round. He's gonna sign up to fight Justin Gaethje. He's gonna knock Justin Gaethje out in the first round.
Oh, he's gonna be the guy? Okay.
They're gonna drag Nate Diaz's corpse back into the UFC for the super fight that everyone's gonna realize very quickly that Nate is aged out of. He's gonna finally knock out Nate Diaz. Third round.
Dude,
then he gets a shot at whatever title, at whatever weight class he wants. If there's a vacancy, they should do him and Dustin Poirier for the actual 3, because that wasn't a win.
So Dustin
leg got broken. That was fucking stupid. Or fight Leon Edwards. He starches him too. Jesus. So don't worry. The greatest comeback in sports history is on. Don't stress. Speaking of comebacks, Chris Weidman. No. God. Doesn't this make you feel like 1,000 years old? Like I feel like it was the other day that Chris Weidman was the best guy, or like one of the best guys out there. And now he's plus 225 against Brad Tavares. He's 39. He's coming off a bad injury.
One of the worst I've ever seen. That was awful.
It's really,
this is the leg break?
Yeah.
Damn, it's been that long since he
broke Boston. He broke it in Boston.
God.
Did he really?
Yep.
That's mean to make him fight here again.
Why do they do that?
What if it happens again?
Why is this happening? I don't want to watch Chris Weidman fight. Why are they doing this?
Dude, for the same reason that Mark Coleman is fighting again.
I don't know
because you don't know. You're such a casual. Both of you are such casuals. Mark Coleman was like the one of the he fought Fedor. He fought a who's who in Pride, and then came over to the UFC, fought in Pride. From the it's crazy because he looked older in the UFC, but he was still juiced up. And now he's fighting. I don't know what he trains with Matt Brown. I
love Matt Brown.
Yeah, I love Matt Brown. He's a super tough guy. Always excited to see him fight, dude. You should see Mark Coleman train. He loses shadowboxing matches, and I don't say that. And I don't say that to be funny. There is more than one video of Mark Coleman going out to shadowbox and tripping and falling, dude. It's happened more than once. They let it happen more than once. Dude, do not. I can't imagine how many times that actually happens. And he's fighting again.
Matt Brown was on The Ultimate Fighter, right?
Yeah.
I watched a video of him. I think it was him where
on TikTok.
Yeah, because that guy was like,
we're on the same algo, everyone.
Yeah, we definitely have the same algo. But it's like that taller guy was like, I'm fucking with him. I'm gonna keep like messing with him, and now I know I'm in his head. Matt Brown was like, just came out and savaged him because he's the elbow guy, right? He always
Yeah, yeah,
big
do
elbow.
elbows.
He put something in his chewing tobacco, right? It was like lime juice.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. He lemoned his chewing tobacco, and he was like, "I'm a Southern boy. You don't do that to Southern boys." And I'm like, "I think he's serious.
That's the wrong dude.
I think he's serious."
Yeah. Oh, dude. He trains out of or he does his strength work out of West Side Barbell, which I think is I mean, it's rare and possibly if he was a younger guy, I'd say that's possibly not the best idea. But West Side Barbell is the home of the late Louis Simmons, who is like the powerlifting king. Like if you look up West Side Barbell, that is old school, out in the middle of nowhere, Ohio, like hard guy shit. And that's where Matt Brown trains most of
That's
the time.
cool. That's
Yeah,
cool.
that's what he does. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, I like that Matt Brown is just like he's just getting better with age. He's just getting more seasoned as the years go on. He's just like, because it's like you can make him a gatekeeper, but you don't like nobody wants to fight him. It's like you could probably, if you have enough talent, you could probably beat him, but it's not going to be fun. And I love guys like that.
Dude, you're gonna be in the fight every time.
It's like the exact opposite of what's his name, Smiling Sam Alvey. And you're just watching him like move, and you're like, dude, I don't even think you should be a professional athlete in like any fucking sport. Like this is bad.
Dude, I loved his like very, very short ascension in the fall from grace on Reddit. Did you?
No,
Dude,
no.
He came
Smiling Sam Alvey we're talking about here?
What do you say?
We're talking about Sam Alvey?
Yeah, Smiling Sam Alvey. He
like a nice guy.
He can't. No, he seems like a douche. And he came on Reddit and he tried to garner some favor with everybody on the internet. And he was like, "Hey, it's me. I'm a real UFC fighter here." Da, da, da. And people were like, "Oh, that's cool, Sam." And then he fought a couple more times. It was awful. Did some stupid promos on there, and everyone was like, "Fuck you, get out of here." And he doesn't post there anymore. It's hilarious.
Yeah, Reddit will fucking turn on you. Don't try and garner favor with a bunch of virgins.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, bunch of nutcases.
Average Redditor has opinion about high level athlete. Anyway, Chris Weidman and Brad Tavares. Don't bet on Chris Weidman. If he wins, he wins. He's definitely reached higher heights than Brad Tavares ever has. I don't think either of these guys are good. I would probably stay away from this one, Matt.
I'm gonna go with Tavares. I'm gonna make it part of some sort of an early card parlay, I think. Opposite the one that me and you were talking about, but I've never been more sure that I don't want to watch somebody fight in my life. So
aren't you going to be kind of the problem I have in a situation like this is like I know that like my instinct is going to be to cheer for Chris Weidman because of like the comeback nature and the underdog nature of the entire thing, and I know at his peak he was kind of a tool, but like I don't know, coming back from that leg break, if he comes back and looks good from that leg break, it's encouraging for our other friend. So
that is true. That is true. Yeah, I got. You're probably right. I do want. I just don't want to see him get hurt. that's all I care about.
I know, and that's why I think they're putting him up against this guy. I don't think he's got it.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna. You know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna go Weidman for the win.
Yeah.
Let's just see
fun.
it.
That's more fun.
Something special.
That's more fun. Ride the wave. Ben, what was your worst ever injury? Inside a fight.
I remember that time he lost his tampon. Never mind.
No zinger.
I bet it was that cut on your head.
Maybe my cut, yeah, because that was
my cut, like it's his friend that he lives with.
Yeah.
It did look like a mouth.
Yeah, no, that was big, dude. And I remember somebody commented on the video, I can see his thoughts in there. And that's when I got really into tech and how to track IPs.
That's the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Dude, I can't stand that so many of the things that have like gotten to me even recently are good jokes. And I'm like, damn it, I wish like the Miyagi and the bow thing. I was like, son of a bitch, that was funny.
I can see his thoughts in there. You know what though? At least we know that they were lying because you do not have any of those. God, that's so funny. I wish that guy was here. He sounds hilarious. I can see his thoughts. It was me on a burner.
Yeah.
I used to troll Ben's fight videos. My actual comments would be, "That's my buddy in full support," and then it'd be like, "Toe tap at 97 says, I can see his thoughts. What a fucking loser." Dave, you forgot to switch accounts. Sorry.
Sorry,
No,
Ben.
dude, I'm just trying to draw traffic to your page, bro.
Oh,
man.
Cheeto versus Pedro Munoz. Cheeto, a man that's defeated the headliner on this card, emphatically, in fact. And a real fall from grace. A real fall from grace for Cheeto. He was one of the best bantamweights in the world not too long ago.
I think he's pretty mid.
You think he's mid?
Yeah.
Because he lost to Corey Sandhagen? Like, everybody loses to Corey Sandhagen.
Yeah.
It's like,
no, I just think in general.
That's all you have. That's it. He's mid. Is this Gen Z does podcasts?
No, he
mid. On God. Mid. On God.
Yeah, he obviously is good, but like his stand-up looks way too stiff for me.
He knocked out Dominic Cruz, right?
Yes, he did. He caught him with he set him up well. Like
really well. Yeah.
He's obviously good. But so I mean he's clearly not mid. I really don't like him as a person. And he wears and he gets there's this one brand of clothing that I was really obsessed with for a while. And he knows.
This is a left turn.
What do you say?
This is a left turn.
Yeah, and he knows the owner, and I see him getting it for free all the time on his Instagram.
And it all comes around now. Now we understand.
Yeah.
Now we understand why Ben hates fan favorite Marlon Chito Vera. I knew there was a root cause in there somewhere in that psychotic brain of yours. I just couldn't see inside because you got that wound closed. Eventually. It was bad. If you guys want to Google Ben's cut, it's on the internet. It looked like a pair of joke lips that you put on a Mr. Potato Head doll was planted in the middle of his forehead. I think there's actually some value of Pedro Munoz here. He was looking competitive with Sean O'Malley when he fought him. There was a no contest. Marlon Vera's been out for a few months because he went through that brutal 5-round battle with Sandhagen, as mentioned. I think, yeah, Munoz lost some fights, but the roster of guys he's lost to, Sterling, Edgar, Aldo, Dominic Cruz, like these are names. No shame in losing to most of those guys. There's a little bit of shame in losing to Dominic Cruz, I think, in the modern era. That guy, can we talk for a second, actually, as a quick aside, about how fucking piss poor the commentary's been on these UFC cards recently?
It's unbelievable.
First of all, they all have clear favorites. They all have these fighter meetings, and they obviously have when they're talking to people, or they know them, or they're like, it's a small community and they've trained with them or whatever. They have clear fucking favorites. They're making absolutely no effort anymore to hide their bias, and they'll sit there and be like, for 3 rounds, be like, yeah, fucking Mike's doing great, and it's like, first of all, huge pet peeve. Please say the name of the fighter that's on the fucking screen. Because when you're going, well, Mike was doing good, but Joe was doing a little bit better, it's like a little frustrating when I have no idea who these 2 fucking guys are because they're on the prelims and I gotta like Google it. Firstly. Secondly, you're trotting out Michael fucking Bisping, and like, I mean, I hate to even say it, Daniel Cormier's really dropped off. And like the secondary guy that isn't the main play-by-play guy. What the fuck is, I'm blanking on his name now.
It's not John Anik.
It's not John Anik. The guy who's not John Anik, who sounds kind of more polished, but he's actually not. It's just like, it's been bad. It's been bad. The judging's bad. The refereeing's not much better, and the fucking commentary hasn't been great lately. I just think we need to like up the product around the bend. I don't want to hear from Michael Bisping or Dominic Cruz. Dominic Cruz in that flat monotone that he uses to commentate on fights, and he's like, he just says the most ridiculous shit because I just don't think he sees the world the same way as everybody else. Yeah. They've honestly, I think he needs to go and get checked for autism. I think if we start there, I think that would be a good start.
He's one of those guys that like does too many wellness classes and shit, you know?
Right.
So like he has a different perspective, but he
also says everything with such extreme confidence.
Yeah.
Like every word out of his mouth is 100% a fact because he said it. And it's just frustrating. You know, Rogan does the same thing. Rogan does it to the degree where he's getting people killed for not taking fucking vaccines. But it's more offensive on a fucking fight card, and I'm just trying to relax on a Saturday and watch some violence. But Matt, do you think that there's...
I think Rogan's the best one of all.
He actually is the best commentator that they have.
Hate him.
Other than John Anik. John Anik's a real class act.
John Anik might be one of the best sports play-by-play people of all time.
I agree. He's
unbelievable.
He's got a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. He could
bring back Mike Goldberg. That guy
he was a character. Isn't he a Bellator now?
No, he's probably not anywhere. I think
his voice was really synonymous with like a lot of the prime UFC years, like that kind of here we go, like that. He was like bringing that. He was the Spike TV guy. Now they need an ESPN guy. I get it. Do you agree with me that there's any value in any of these bets on Munoz, Matt? Or maybe like
I'm totally with you. And I don't think you get to take anything away from Cheeto for that loss to Sandhagen, even though it was a split decision. Sandhagen like won that fight. It wasn't even really that close. He literally, Cheeto did not know what to do in that fight. He did not know how to get through to him. Didn't know how to close the distance. Pedro Munoz has fought a lot of really good fighters, and he has not looked bad really against any of them. The Dominic Cruz thing, it is what it is. Dominic's as dumb as he is, he's one of the most seasoned fighters at the weight class. So I really do think that there is some value here at 160 for Pedro. Cheeto's kind of a head case too, so that loss probably has weighed on him a little bit. I don't know how he responds to that. So it's a close one for me, but I think I'm gonna go with Munoz on this.
All right, I think there's some value in that underdog bet also. Where were we? Ian Gary and Neil Magny. Jeff Neal is out. Neil Magny's in. I like Neil Magny. I'm a fan, but good God, Ian Gary's a minus 420 favorite. Neil Magny's plus 320. Ian Gary's not that good. Like for all intents and purposes, like we're making him a minus 420 fucking favorite in a fight against his first name, pretty much like his first guy that anyone's ever heard of. I know he's coming in on short notice. I know Ian Gary's undefeated, but like we're all in agreement that chin is there to be found. Right? Oh yeah, and someone's gonna find it. So, well, I don't know. Dude, I think if I'm betting this, I'm betting the under 1.5 rounds, which is plus 150. I might bet that under a round and a half, one way or the other. But you're not getting any value in minus 420 on Ian Gary. Is there any value in Magny? No,
unless you make it part of a massive. I'm part of a massive parlay. Maybe throw it on Ian Gary, but man, first of all, this is not the guy that he wanted to fight. He called out what's his name? Neil. It was another guy they wanted to fight who then got injured. So he's not fully prepared for Magny. And Magny's had some real fights in his life. He's had some dog fights, and that's something that we have not seen from Ian Gary either. I get it. He has promoted himself to the nth degree. He's signed with Better. He's doing all these TikToks. He's really, really opened up this whole, I know I can make money now, so I'm going to make my money now, which go get your buck, kid. But let's stop pretending like your 12-0 is impressive. Who have you haven't beaten anyone yet. And now you're going against the guy. This is his 40th fight. It's a real tough spot for him, I think. I think it's a lot of pressure, and he's talked a big, big game. Do I want him to win? I like him. I'm like a real fan of Ian Gary's, but it's a tough spot for him here for sure.
You remember? Did you see the meme I sent you guys today? That was It was like the Michael Scott. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Michael Jordan, Michael Scott. It's like we're not here to take part. We're here to take over. Conor McGregor, Ian Gary. So
I did see that.
I do think that he should be trying. If I was advising him, I would be trying to steer his brand away from what Conor already did. I think it's scorched earth. I think that it's well-worn ground at this point, and he's not as clever. Like he's just not as clever, and he's not as magnetic.
Not that guy. There is an inherent asshole deep inside Conor McGregor. That's why he's good at what he does. It's earnest. He's not acting.
He's a cunt.
Yeah, he's a little cunt. Ian Gary's like a nice guy.
He's too nice of a guy. Yeah,
after his last fight, he was outside greeting like his mom or something, and a drunk guy bumped into him. And Ian Gary gave him like the whole hey man, listen, I know you're drunk right now, but you really, really don't want to ride this.
I did see that. It was like after his last fight, right? He got some guy started saying shit to him, and he was really, really nice about it. I'm like, really, dude, really cool. I'm like, McGregor's already like texted his manager to tell him that we're gonna have to pay this dude because I'm about to fuck him up.
McGregor beat that guy up and then went to his dad's nursing home and beat him up there.
Yeah. It's like 100% what's going down. Like he's not walking away from that shit. And Ian Gary's like, come on, man. And then now he's trying to do this impression of Conor McGregor, and it's just like we've seen this before, man. And you're not that dude.
It's just so weird, man.
But he's an exciting fighter. He could still get really popular if he just.
But here's my thing: we were all super entertained by McGregor, right? But we were also all super entertained by GSP. You can be a good dude, and we'll all still go like, "Oh, he's awesome!" Like
the entertainment level is not even close between the two.
Oh, that's true.
It's like we're talking like WWE. Like fucking attitude era be like compared to WWE SummerSlam last week. Like it's just not the same thing.
Dude, I loved watching GSP get ready for fights and the training, like the behind the scenes thing, because he took all that shit so seriously, and I was like, oh wow, I want to do shit like that. But when I watched him fight, like I just knew it was gonna happen every
single
fucking time. And like they're not really comparable as fighters. Like GSP, I think. He's definitely the most well-rounded at the very least, if not the best of all time. But he's definitely the guy that had everything. Like he had all the stuff in his locker. And I really enjoy that he George Foreman'd Michael Bisping. Like he was like, oh, if I could just get a fucking title, I'll go in and get that title shot against Bisping. I know I can fuck him up. Like that
was what an asshole thing.
I know. He's like, wait, who has that belt? Yeah. I'll take it. And then Bisping goes and he's like, well, I'll just take another fight in like 2 weeks, and he gets knocked out by Kevin Gastelum and retires. I'm like, oh, what a fitting end. What a fitting end to a career. Anyway, I do agree. I think that Ian Gary needs to be a little bit more original in his branding. The internet, as for all its fickle nature and the ways that it is very underwhelming and bad for society, it's very curt when it comes to like people doing bullshit. Like it's gonna just be like, yeah, no, we reject you wholeheartely. Like we've already seen this, we don't like it. It's not as cool, it's not as cute, it's a vaudeville act, it's a sequel. So it's just not gonna work. And I think that he should just put his head down and fucking get to work, because it reminds me, honestly, if he wasn't Irish, it reminds me more of Darren Till than it reminds me of Conor McGregor, to be 100% honest with you, because Darren Till came in with a remarkably similar fight style of a chin that was pointing at the fucking North Star, like they're going to find Jesus. And then he gets sent to Jesus. And it's just like, bruh. And it's really, really clean and crisp, effective combinations, like 3 to 4 that are like clearly like incredibly well practiced and easy to deliver. But I mean, Ben, if you were fighting an Ian Gary type, you're looking at him like, you're looking at this game tape like, oh my God, I'm headhunting this motherfucker. Like, I know I got to just try to hit him as fucking hard as I can, right? Or do you go like, maybe we take him down and see what he like has down on the ground, because that hasn't really proven yet.
I think no matter what you do, you've got to be pushing him back. Like the thing,
because he swarms you. Yeah.
None of these guys do as well on their back foot, and with taller guys like that, your head has to be in their chest the whole time.
Yeah.
Bang, jumping up with trying to hook, catch on the outside, uppercut,
push. Yeah, eliminate their range. Like just eliminate, because if you're on the end of that punch, that's when you're in trouble.
Yeah. Attack, changing levels, attacking leg kicks, but constantly, almost literally trying to push your forehead into their chest the entire time and keep them moving back. And nobody does that, dude. It drives me nuts.
Boy, Mayweather did it to Conor McGregor. Like he was like kind of getting caught on the end of stuff, and he was like, all right, and he just stepped inside his range and just started fucking him up, and I was like, huh, okay.
Oh man.
But that's, I think, why Conor never does that well against guys that are taller than him or have equal reach. Like when he was fighting Poirier, like he just didn't have that same kind of like pop on the end of his punches. But he fights an Eddie Alvarez like a little bit shorter than him. He fights a Jose Aldo, or like these guys that have that little bit of a height or size disadvantage in his range. He's just so good at picking guys out at the end of his range. And I think Gary's good at the same thing, but it's find outable. You need to start learning how to like fight on the inside also. I don't think it's going to be this weekend. I do still think Ian Gary's going to win, but we're going to start to see, I think that I'd be surprised if we saw him as the champion of his division. That would be tough. You don't think so?
I don't see it yet. Not yet.
Yeah. Good, because don't ever fucking disagree with me. Damon Blackshire and Mario Batista. Batista is the underdog. Blackshire, I actually quite like watching him fight. He
just fought last week.
Wait, was it last week?
Yeah, man.
Like the last card?
Dude, he won. He beat Johnson at a UFC Fight Night. Vincenzo Luque. He hit
Twister.
Him with the Twister.
The Twister guy is fighting again.
And he stood right back up. He said, "I'm good. He didn't do shit to me. I'm ready to go."
Oh, that's fucking awesome,
I'm
dude.
betting
I
every
hope
dollar
this
I've ever
guy.
seen on Blackshire. Let's
I
go.
hope this guy wins. That sounds awesome.
Let's go.
Have we ever seen that fight? 2 fights in 2 weeks?
Not to my knowledge, no. Not since UFC has become what it is. But man,
Even so, but what about the weight cut and everything? Does he
wait,
not
think
have-
about all that, dude. I think he said he walks around at 155, so he fights at one. They're fighting at, 136. He's at now, but that's crazy, man. That's a bad dude
awesome.
right there.
Ben, do you think that's cool, or do you think that's just a terrible idea? It's a good way to get yourself really hurt.
I'm sorry, I missed what you said there.
Piece of shit.
Dude, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Damn it. I was hoping that you were going to run through it again before you.
Damon Blackshire fought last week at Fight Night, Luque versus Dos Anjos, and he won by twister. He hit the kid with a twister. So he immediately stood up because Batista was set to fight some other Joe Schmo, and he broke his hand, I think. So Blackshire is going 2 weeks in a row on main cards.
Got it. Yeah, no, I think that's.
I don't want you to answer anymore.
I don't want to either, you son of a bitch.
Don't make it a highlight, Dave, please.
Go stand.
Oh, that's a highlight.
Oh, we're making a video of that. Go stand in the corner and think about what you did. Amanda Lemos is fighting Zhang Weili.
Is she, or she's just gonna get knocked out?
She's gonna get fucked up.
Yeah,
She's gonna get fucked up. Zhang Weili is, I will say this about Weili though. She is responsible for some of the most, if not the most, entertaining women's fights that I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
I think that she's awesome. And I really always cheer for her to win because there's a slight vibe that they might turn her into glue and ashtrays back in her home country if she doesn't win. Like, but she seems like a state-sponsored fighter. And this could be completely off fucking base. Like, I feel bad saying it, but it seems like if she brings great honor and shame on her house and name, that they will in fact kill her and we'll never see her again. I just get the vibe. Like, there's always one guy in her camp that's like looking at her real hard when she's answering questions. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Okay. And this is based in nothing. I'm not basing this in any sort of real reality. It's just the vibes are off in that sense. In that sense, the vibes are off. And I just feel like maybe we should be watching to see if she's like tapping in Morse code, or like if she's, you know what I mean? Like if she's just trying to get a message across, so that she can finally win her freedom.
Dude,
Ben, you have some experience with this situation. When you're the victim of kidnapping. Oh wait, hold on a second. That's actually not. That didn't happen to you.
Okay.
You'd be more trouble than you were.
So wait, hold on. But you say that, it's so funny. When Rose knocked her out the first time and she woke up.
I got worried. Screaming,
no. It's like, oh man, I would not want to go back to Beijing like that.
I feel like maybe like her reaction was like, I just lost one of my little brothers. Like I
remember when I was in 5th grade, I got in trouble, like big trouble at school. And I remember I thought it was smart in the principal's office to start screaming and crying that you can't tell my dad, he's going to kill me. You have no idea, he's actually going to kill me. And that created a whole different issue with DCF and them being like, are you actually not safe at home? That's what it reminded me of. It was like, no, you can't go home like this. This can't happen like
this. Don't tell my dad.
Please.
He'll bring out the big shoe. Oh man. That's really, really funny. Yeah. Anyway, Amanda Lemos is gonna lose. So if you want to put Zhang Weili in a some sort of parlay, I would do that.
Yeah. Plus, they're setting up Zhang Weili for that fight with the other Chinese woman. I think it's like Yan. Her name's like John Yao Zhang or something like that. So
you better be close, bro. You better be close.
I think I'm pretty actually close. But they want to line them up for a Chinese fight. For a fight in China. So this is just a stepping stone for Weili to be back at #1 spot.
All right. Well, I'm excited for her, and I really do hope she wins because I think there's bigger things at stake here. Sean O'Malley, Aljamain Sterling. Listen, the smart money, obviously, if you know anything about this sport, is on Aljo. Taking this dude down almost immediately and choking the fucking life out of him. But I will say this. Sean O'Malley is a lot more likable than Aljamain Sterling. Like, a lot more likable. It's happening in Boston in the TD Garden. So I guarantee you the crowd is going to be a Sean O'Malley crowd and not an Aljamain Sterling crowd. Aljo is really talented, but that fucking thing he did against Dariush when he was like faking being like all out of it with the knee and it was clearly fake. And then he like threw the belt down. I know he went back and like
Peter Yan
beat him, or sorry, Peter Yan. I know he trains with Dariush. Ben knows some people that are training with them, I guess, in Boston this week. But I just think that would really soured me on him, and he's just not my favorite champion in that way. Also, there's some damning like when it comes to sports, I'm not usually a huge fan of like trotting this out, like any sort of advanced metrics, because like people who watch sports, they know how to do an eye test better than any of your like advanced metrics. And you just sound like a geek and you're geeking up my sports. And I just don't like it. But like, there's a weird damning stat that like, I guess Sterling's only finished like 28% of his takedowns over the last few fights, like 5 to 7 fights or whatever. So
yeah,
to me, it's like, I'll posit this question to Ben. If you know what's going to happen, if you're Sean O'Malley, right, and you're in this situation where you know that you're viscerally outclassed in the wrestling department, and you know what he's going to do, and there's no doubt in your mind, does that help you at all? Where it's like, I gotta just let him not get his hands on me, and I can find that fucking chin because I know O'Malley can knock him out. I know he can't. I just don't know if he's gonna.
Yeah, I think if the game was reversed and O'Malley was like the hardest dude coming in new, and you obviously know he's going to strike with you, quite frankly, it's easier to nullify that than it is to nullify someone just all they have to do is get 2 hands on you, like hand on your leg. They have to get underneath your punching range, something like that. It's a fight, and like distances open and close. They're in close, and then all like it's
there's
so
no way
hard
to stay away from him the whole time.
Yeah, you're not going to. You're going to have to grapple. So yes, it does help you decide what you're going to have to concentrate on. Like, how do you slide? How do you switch your hips? How do you stand back up? How do you use the cage to get back up? Because you're going to be on the ground at some point. There's no getting away.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
But how do you nullify then the position that comes next? Yeah. Like, obviously you want to fight the hands and do that, like, to stop it, and you want to be in and out. But I think if it was reversed, it would be easier. But I think Sean O'Malley is going to have a hard one with this. I've counted both of these guys out every single fight that they've ever been in. So it's like difficult for me to decide who to count out here. But I think I'm going to count out Sean O'Malley.
It's going to be a long night for him. And it's also going to be sort of determinate on the card, because if he just gets wrestle fucked for 5 rounds, or he gets like immediately taken down and choked out, which is also a distinct possibility, it's gonna make the card's gonna be like so fucking underwhelming if that happens. Like, the co-main is a lock. Ian Gary, sure, maybe there's some fights leading up to it that are fun, but if O'Malley doesn't put in a good performance, this is a fucking failure of a card. I'm interested to see how the crowd's gonna be and like all that stuff, but like, they're gonna fucking turn. That crowd's I know Boston crowds. I know them better than any other crowd on the planet. I've been in them more than any other crowd. And quite frankly, everything that people say about them is true. And I'm not here to defend them, because that place is going to get so fucking toxic if that fight is boring. Like, it's going to get so fucking toxic if that fight is boring. You thought Jacksonville was bad? It's going to be bad. So Ben's been a part of actual Boston crowds on the positive side, because Conor McGregor rocked in and everybody in Boston's like, I'm Irish. And he fucking knocked a guy out and then like went home. And like, that's a positive. Like, there's nice things that can happen in those places. But we're also chasing fucking Lakers teams out of there if they win. So I don't know, Matt. What do you think? Any value in the Sean O'Malley bet?
I want to say
Sean O'Malley will destroy this man. Everything you said is a lie.
I'm betting on Sean O'Malley because I'm not going to bet on a 390 favorite. I think Sean O'Malley 360. Yeah, even worse. I don't think Sean O'Malley's as bad at jiu-jitsu as we think he is. I don't think it matters though, because of how good Aljo is. Look at what he did to Henry Cejudo. He wouldn't even get up off the mat. He just gets down on his knees, so you can't strike him with a kick, and then waits.
That's the other thing. You gotta eliminate that rule. You should be able to get kicked in the head when you're on the ground, or knee in the head when you're on the ground. I don't care.
Literally crabs into people.
It's bullshit. It's an exploitation of the rules. I don't.
So
like it.
I think Aljo has talked this weird level of shit for this fight where he's gonna stand up and try and bang with
That would be a bad idea.
O'Malley for a while, right? Because once he starts losing, because we know he's a scared little rat who faked a head injury to get a belt in the first place, what he's gonna do is he's just gonna take him down and body triangle him and hold him there for 5 rounds. So it's gonna be boring. But I do think O'Malley could win this fight. So I'm gonna bet on O'Malley just because I think it's such a disrespectful line for such a gifted striker.
Wow. That was very eloquent, Matt, and you really came off the top rope to Aljamain Sterling. I really enjoyed it.
That guy.
I'm gonna say that between you and Ben, you've done a better job tonight. So well done.
I appreciate that.
Fucking useless to me. I'm just kidding.
Oh, I forgot what we were talking about.
Dude, what? I thought Ben said that it was such a good impression, but that was you? Damn.
I didn't forget what we were talking about. I never knew. There's a big difference.
I love it. Ben, final question for the evening. Any merit in kneeing somebody as they try and take you down, or is that just gifting them your leg?
It's high risk, high reward. It's hard to aim. And you don't always see it work, but when you do see it, it's pretty spectacular. But I think more so it's hard to get the timing right, because if you do get that ascension and you're off the ground, you're flying, then I mean, you're a lot safer than, say, when you were about to lift up, your feet are on the ground, your hips are up, which is when normally you'll get caught, because you shoot a takedown when you can touch the person already. So
what would you say is the smartest MMA defensive takedowns? You think just sprawling, like old school, like get my fucking hips out of the way, or do you think it's like, okay, he's got me on the fence, control the head, turn him out, or try to offensively wrestle to like try to nullify him or cancel it out? I guess it's situational, right? Depends who you're coming up against and what your skill set is.
Well, I think as a striker, quite frankly, the best takedown defense, which we never see utilized, is the jab, because in MMA, you don't see the jab utilized that much. If you could have a whip-like jab and you're just popping, then you're going to have that person's timing down, and they're going to try to time you. And if you start to add fakes, then they're going to go for the takedown underneath it. You're going to be able to see it. I think the jab, from a striking perspective, is truly the best takedown.
It is really weird how little we see elite jabbing in the UFC and in high-level MMA in general. It's really strange because it's always been known. Like, I grew up watching heavyweight boxing, and I never liked them, but I would always tune in for the Lennox Lewis fights. My dad would put them on. And like, that guy was enormous, and he had a rocket of a punch, but all he ever did was fucking jab people in the face, because his arms were like go-go gadget arms. They were like fucking 9 feet long. So that's all he ever had to do. He just like lived on the jab, just fucked guys up with jabs until finally like they were bleary-eyed, and then he would just put them away. And I always thought it was a little boring, but fundamentally it's so sound. And like, nobody in MMA has like an elite jab that I can think of. And it's like, it is the control. It's the rangefinder. It's the control. It's like, it's a setup. And like, I think a lot of it is that hand control thing, because instead of jabbing, guys are grabbing gloves and trying to find range that way, because they know that like a grappling exchange could happen like super, super quickly. So they don't want to overextend, I guess. But man, I really think there is going to be somebody that comes around the corner with a fucking elite jab, and they're just going to dominate a division at some point in the future. So you heard it here first, folks. Thank you to Ben. I can see your thoughts peak. Matthew, Mr. Miyagi Wilcox, and myself, DK Sizzle, Dave Clark. This has been Check My Oil. Have a great day, everybody.